if I'm not mistaken, Crash, for that Netflix series. What was it called?
Oh, the Get Down.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Like you were a consultant on that, right? For the artwork,
Um.
right? So
Okay.
is that
Um.
correct, or to what extent is that?
I was actually approached in the very beginning, and then they didn't contact me when they went to the first 3 episodes. And then when they realized there was a lot of mistakes, they got back to me after the third episode was filmed. And they came back to me, and that's when they actually moved to New York. They were actually filming in California, and they realized this doesn't work here.
Terrible.
Yeah. So if you see the first episode, which didn't make any sense to me, it was like a musical, and then the next two were like whatever. But then after the fourth episode to the very end, it got very dark, and it got more serious. There were a couple of killings involved. Well, I mean, when they had approached me in the beginning, one of the writers, Seth, who was married to Rosie Perez at the time a while ago.
Really?
He approached me with the story. I'm like, okay, cool. Let me know what you want me to do. And months went by, I didn't hear from them. And then he contacted me again, and again, 3 or 4 months went by, nothing. Then all of a sudden, all this negative press was coming out that they were only going to hire African American artists and black actors and dancers, and this whole backlash started occurring because there were a lot of Latinos from the beginning involved in graph and in dance, and so it started going into like this weird way. And they contacted me again and said, listen, we shot the first couple of episodes, but we're not happy with it. We need help with this. Can you come down and meet us? So I drove down to the city, and I met with Baz, who was the director and executive producer. And it turns out Flash was there. And I knew Flash from the Jackson houses. Yeah. So I said, what are you doing here? He goes, oh, I'm doing the music. He goes, you're going to work on this? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to talk. So we were just talking, and he said, look, the money is good, but you got to set them straight on things. I'm like, okay. So I saw the first episodes, and I was like, yo, this is kind of weird. This is not how the way it was, But they already shot the first 3 episodes, but then when I got involved, for example, it takes place in the late 70s, right? The whole story. There were no gangs in New York in the late 70s. See, and when you see the first episodes, there was a lot of gang stuff happening, but that only occurred from 71 to 75. In 75, 76, a lot of the gang members realized, yo, there's money to be made in hip hop. So a lot of them were either opening after hour clubs, or they were going to dance parties and making money off of that. That's how it evolved. That's why when you see a lot of older dancers, they were all gang members. They realized they could make money with music and dance, and so that whole thing just merged into it. So when he was filming, the stuff was happening in 79, there were no gangs. I said, dude, this is not right. There were no gangs at the time. He thought I was kidding. When he started going into research, he goes, dude, he was true. So from the 4th episode on, there were no gangs anymore.
Wow.
Check it out. And then I told him, and the area where you're filming, it was extra violent. Where I grew up at, St. Mary's Park, where where they slide down that rock and all that. That rock is there. We used to slide down all the time, but that park, you couldn't go there at night. There was a constant battle going on. And I mean, the South Bronx at that time was probably the highest murder per capita in the country. It was nuts. So he was trying to film this ideology, like, oh, I love hip hop and the whole thing. Like, so he thought it was like, like a music, like, no, dude, wait, back up. This is how this came about. So I told him, listen to the message, the song, the message that they did. And when you hear all that stuff, the jail, everything that happened in 79 and 80, and they recorded what they saw and what they lived. So he thought it was just a song. And no, man, that's, autobiographical. And he realized that I was saying was true. And then when Flash told him to do, that's how it was. The scope of it changed.
Yeah. Thank God they changed it.
Yeah, and then the last episode, when whatever that the body was found in a car, and then when they started on season 2, they went back to the happiness. I'm like, and they didn't reach out to us, and then of course Netflix just shut them down.